Father Time is the ultimate paparazzi, a relentless force that hunts us all down eventually, even the glittering gods and goddesses of Tinseltown who once seemed totally untouchable. Those iconic visages that were plastered on bedroom walls and defined the cinematic dreams of an entire generation have morphed into unrecognisable maps of tragedy excess and sheer grit. In 2026, we're peeling back the glossy magazine covers to expose the raw, unfiltered truth behind the drastic physical transformations of 5 legendary stars whose lives have been anything but a fairy tale. Forget the cruel tabloid headlines about fading beauty. These are not just tales of ageing, but epic sagas of survival against the crushing weight of fame and personal demons. So pour yourself a drink and settle in, and if you live for the rise, fall and resurrection of Hollywood's elite smash, that subscribe button and tell us below which tragic transformation shocked you the most. We kick things off with the ultimate fallen angel of the silver screen, Mickey Rourke, the brooding heartthrob, who had the world at his feet in the 1980s before burning it all down. With a dangerous mix of vulnerability and erotic charge, Rourke wasn't just an actor. He was a phenomenon, bringing a hypnotic intensity to cult classics like Diner. He dominated the screen in Rumblefish and, of course, melted screens everywhere in the controversial and steamy masterpiece 9.5 Weeks. He possessed a magnetic, almost violent charisma that made him the most sought-after bad boy of his time, a modern-day Brando with a self-destructive streak that was impossible to ignore. But Rourke had demons that fame couldn't silence, viewing himself as a warrior in a soft world. And in 1991, he shocked the industry by throwing his career away to become a professional boxer. The man standing before us today is a walking testament to a life lived on the edge, sculpted by brutal decisions far removed from the pampered trailers of movie sets. His stint in the ring was nothing short of brutal, resulting in a catalogue of horrific injuries, including a smashed nose, a crushed cheekbone, and severe compression of his facial structure. The subsequent attempts to fix the damage through plastic surgery only added to the tragedy, drastically warping the handsome features that once graced the cover of every magazine. What remains is a rugged, scar-laden visage that looks like a completely different person, a haunting distance from the fresh-faced pretty boy who charmed the world decades ago. Rourke has never shied away from the gossip, admitting that he went under the knife to repair the mess made by boxing, though he confesses he chose the wrong surgeon to put him back together. Now his face is a literal map of his battles, telling a gritty story of a man who had to fight, bleed and break to find out who he really was. Yet, despite the physical devastation and the years spent in the Hollywood wilderness, Mickey Rourke orchestrated one of the most jaw-dropping comebacks the entertainment industry has ever seen. In 2008, he poured his own pain into the wrestler, delivering a soul-crushing performance that snagged an Academy Award nomination and forced critics to respect his genius once again. Since then, he has kept the momentum going, appearing in gritty action flicks and dramas that capitalise on his terrifyingly authentic presence. He has fully embraced his new reality, taking on roles that require a tough, battered exterior and a complex, often tortured soul. While he may no longer be the romantic lead, his ability to command a scene is more terrifying and powerful than it ever was in his youth. The journey of Mickey Rourke is a wild ride of spectacular self-destruction, followed by a hard-won reinvention that few could survive. He has been brutally honest about his dark days and attributes his survival to the unconditional love of his dogs, who he claims stopped him from ending it all. Today he keeps a lower profile, but his legacy is undeniable. He famously gave the middle finger to the Hollywood establishment, choosing a path of pain and resistance that was authentic to his core. Mickey Rourke stands as a battered symbol of resilience, a man whose altered face is a receipt for every punch he took and every round he survived in the ring of life. Next up on our list of shocking transformations is Kathleen Turner, the sultry siren whose smoky voice and lethal wit made her the undisputed queen of the 1980s. She exploded onto the scene, setting the screen on fire in the noir thriller Body Heat, instantly cementing her status as a sex symbol. She wasn't just a flash in the pan. She quickly became box office gold, dominating the era with her commanding presence. Whether she was going toe-to-toe with Michael Douglas in the adventure hit Romancing the Stone or snagging an Oscar nod for Peggy Sue Got Married, Turner radiated a fierce confidence that intimidated as many men as it attracted. She was the ultimate leading lady, a rare combination of breathtaking beauty and serious dramatic chops that made her untouchable. But in the early 1990s, just as she was ruling the world, a cruel twist of fate struck when Kathleen Turner began suffering from unbearable agony and swelling in her joints. The diagnosis was devastating rheumatoid arthritis, a vicious autoimmune disease that threatened to rob her of her livelihood and her mobility. The disease itself, combined with the brutal cocktail of steroids and medication needed to fight, it began to drastically alter her physical appearance in front of the public eye. Her famous features became bloated and puffy, her movement was restricted, and doctors delivered the grim news that she would likely spend the rest of her life in a wheelchair. Turner has since revealed the heartbreak of watching Hollywood turn its back on her as her looks faded, with whispers spreading that she was an alcoholic rather than a victim of a serious illness. But Kathleen Turner is a fighter, and despite the excruciating physical limitations, she refused to let the industry write her obituary. She pivoted away from the camera and reinvented herself as a titan of the stage, earning Tony nominations for her electrifying performances in classics like Cat on a Hot Tin Roof and Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. She also embraced bold, unexpected character roles on screen, famously voicing Chandler's father on the sitcom Friends and stealing scenes in The Kominsky Method. She worked through the agony, refusing to stop proving to everyone that her talent was far more permanent than her physical beauty. Fast forward to today, and Kathleen Turner has transformed into a fierce and vocal advocate for those suffering from rheumatoid arthritis. She has owned her new look with a level of honesty and grace that is rare in show business, refusing to apologise to anyone for the ravages of her condition. Her mission now is about living authentically and continuing to perform, leaving a legacy that is defined by incredible mental toughness. She stared down a career-ending diagnosis and the superficial cruelty of Tinseltown, emerging as a powerful icon of strength for millions of women. Our third subject is Val Kilmer, the enigmatic and notoriously difficult genius who defined what it meant to be cool in the 80s and 90s. From the arrogant gum-chewing fighter pilot Iceman in Top Gun to channeling the Lizard King Jim Morrison in The Doors and donning the cowl in Batman Forever, Kilmer was a chameleon who could do it all. Back in the day, with that jawline sharp enough to cut glass and a screen presence that commanded attention, he was arguably the ultimate heartthrob of his generation. But beyond the pretty face, he was a powerhouse of method, acting renowned for diving into characters with an intensity that few of his peers could ever hope to match. However, the script of his life took a devastating turn in 2015 when Val Kilmer received a life-changing diagnosis of throat cancer. The battle for survival was absolutely brutal, involving aggressive chemotherapy and a tracheotomy that ultimately saved his life but tragically cost him his legendary voice. That grueling war against the disease didn't just silence him, it completely ravaged his physical form, leaving him almost unrecognisable to casual fans. He dropped a significant amount of weight, and he now wears scarves or high collars to cover the tracheostomy tube in his throat, a permanent battle scar from his fight for survival. For a long stretch, he basically vanished from Hollywood, hiding away to heal, while the tabloids ran wild with speculation about what happened to the once vibrant Iceman. But do not count him out, because Kilmer's comeback story is nothing short of miraculous. Even without his voice, he has found innovative ways to express his artistry. In a futuristic twist, during 2021, he teamed up with a tech firm to clone his voice using artificial intelligence and hours of archival audio recordings. This technological wizardry allowed him to speak again with his familiar timbre, paving the way for that tear-jerking, poignant reunion scene in Top Gun Maverick. Seeing him back on screen wasn't just a cameo, it was a massive emotional cultural moment that hit fans right in the feels all around the globe. These days, Val Kilmer has pivoted his creative genius toward painting, proving he is still a prolific artist, dedicated to his craft and his family. If you haven't seen his self-titled documentary, you are missing out on a raw, intimate portrait of a man who possesses incredible emotional depth and resilience. He has stared death in the face and walked away with a level of courage and vulnerability that makes his action movie heroics look like child's play. Val's legacy isn't just movies anymore, it is a masterclass in adaptation, proving that a person's true voice comes from their soul, not just their vocal cords. Switching gears, let's talk about the woman who practically invented the term America's sweetheart, the one and only Meg Ryan. She is the icon who defined a genre anchoring some of the most replayable and beloved romantic comedies in cinema history. With that magnetic girl next door charm and razor-sharp comedic timing, she absolutely stole the show in classics like When Harry Met Sally. Whether she was falling in love over the radio in Sleepless in Seattle or online in You've Got Mail, she had the entire world wrapped around her finger. For more than 10 years, she was untouchable, the undisputed queen of the rom-com, whose name on a poster practically guaranteed millions in ticket sales. But as we crossed into the new millennium, Meg made a shocking move. She decided to walk away from the blinding flashbulbs of the paparazzi. She wasn't just taking a break, she was completely burnt out and desperate to live a real life, prioritising her role as a mother over being a movie star. During her time out of the spotlight, her appearance began to shift, which unfortunately triggered a ruthless media frenzy about plastic surgery speculations. The public discourse was often cruel, constantly contrasting her evolving look with the fresh-faced image from the 90s that fans felt entitled to keep seeing. Ryan never really took the bait, choosing to maintain her dignity and live her private life far away from the constant scrutiny of the gossip rags. After an 8-year radio silence, Meg Ryan finally decided it was time to reclaim her throne and return to the genre she helped build. In 2023, she pulled a triple threat starring, writing and directing in What Happens Later alongside X-Files alum David Duchovny. Critics and fans hailed it as a triumphant return, confirming that while her looks may have evolved, her charm and talent haven't aged a day. She has been open about how that hiatus was essential for her soul, allowing her to become a fully realised human being rather than just a celebrity product. Today, Meg Ryan calls the shots, finding peace in the director's chair and navigating the shark tank of the industry on her own terms. She views acting as a profession now rather than an all-consuming lifestyle that dictates her existence. Her real legacy is not just the classic films, but her bold decision to prioritise her own mental well-being over the hollow pursuit of fame. She is living proof that you can step out of the game, redefine what winning looks like, and come back with a renewed sense of purpose. Finally, we have to discuss John Travolta, a cultural icon whose roller coaster career has survived 5 decades of extreme highs and lows. He exploded onto the scene in the 1970s, oozing swagger as Tony Manero in Saturday Night Fever and the leather jacket wearing Danny Zuko. Between the hips, the hair and that magnetic stare, Travolta wasn't just famous, he was a global phenomenon who could do no wrong. He literally defined the disco era, and even when his career cooled off in the 80s, he managed to pull off the comeback of the century. We are talking about Hollywood history here, with his Oscar-nominated role in 1994's Pulp Fiction, reviving his superstar status. But look closer at the John Travolta of today, and you see a man sculpted, not just by massive success, but by profound personal tragedy. Sure, the passage of time shows in his softened features, but the deeper changes in his eyes reflect a life that has been marked by wave after wave of loss. It started way back in 1977 when he lost his first serious love, Diana Hyland, to the ravages of cancer. Then in 2009, every parent's worst nightmare came true when his beloved son, Jet, passed away tragically at just 16 years old. As if that wasn't enough, in 2020, he lost his wife of nearly 30 years, Kelly Preston, after her own battle with breast cancer. These devastating blows have left a permanent mark on his soul, transforming him into a devoted father who pours everything into his children, Ella Blue and Benjamin. Yet through all the pain, he continues to act, finding solace in the work and appearing in various action movies and dramas to keep moving forward. Even though he might not be crushing the box office numbers like he did in his prime, don't get it twisted, his hunger for the craft is still blazing hot, and he dominates the screen with that undeniable old-school Hollywood charisma every single time. When you look at the big picture, John Travolta's story is the ultimate definition of survival in Tinseltown, proving he can outlast just about anything the industry throws his way. The man has ridden the wildest roller coaster imaginable, surviving the dizzying peaks of global fame and the heartbreaking valleys of personal tragedy, all while the paparazzi never stopped snapping photos. We watched him evolve from that disco-dancing teen heartthrob pinned on bedroom walls into a gritty, respected heavyweight who managed to reinvent his entire persona multiple times, staying relevant and beloved through decades of change. His path serves as a gut-wrenching yet inspiring masterclass in resilience, showing us exactly what kind of steel it takes to keep moving forward after life deals you the cruelest hands all, while continuing to share his talent with the world. Diving into the messy, complicated lives of these 5 superstars proves that getting older under the glare of the studio lights involves way more than just dealing with a few wrinkles or grey hairs. It is really about having a backbone of steel, surviving the gossip columns, and having the guts to live your truth, even when millions of strangers are judging your every move. We truly appreciate you hanging out with us today to take a look behind the curtain at the real lives of these legends. If you got a kick out of this video, please go ahead and smash that like button, send it over to a friend, and make sure to hit subscribe so you never miss out on the juicy updates about the icons we adore.